Please note the disclaimer. I like racing. I think that's no secret, but I also like good racing. There are mediocre racing games out there to be sure, and there are also bad ones that just... ugh. But if there's any type of game out there that you can play over and over again without being bored, it's racing games. Many have tried, some succeeded, some failed, and some have set the gold standard while some are absolute train wrecks. Just like the one we're looking at. Is what I would have said if Cars 3 didn't somehow surprise me. I was coming into this thinking that I'd review a licensed molten turd, but yeah, this is fun. Really fun. Alright, here's the pre-review rundown. Developed by Avalanche Studios, who are responsible for making Rampage 2, the Tak and the Power of Juju series, and Disney Infinity, and published by Warner Brothers wait a second. Warner Brothers. Published a Disney game.
What the actual hell is even going on right now?
Cars 3 Driven to Win is a surprisingly fun racing game based on the debatably best Cars movie. By the way, I actually like the Cars movies, so that might be biased, but I don't think so. I expected this game to be nothing but trash, but man, this thing surprised me. Not only with how much effort was put into the game, but how much fun it is. This is a legit good racing game. Why? Well, let's get started. So the story of this game canonically takes place after the events of the movie, with Lightning McQueen training and competing in races all in preparation for his rematch with Jackson Storm, who's pretty much cocky sports movie antagonist number 2594. And that pretty much does it on story. I mean, seriously, there are a couple of cutscenes, but other than that, nothing. The game is split up into events presented to the player through a show hosted by Chick Hicks, the bad guy from the first movie, who has won one single Piston Cup in the canon and has an ego bigger than Daxter.
It would seem that Lightning McQueen isn't quite done with racing yet. Although I could have won that with a way faster time.
Throughout the game, he'll give updates on the player's progress and even comment on how racers did after races, making it seem like a real sports broadcast.
I'm Chick Hicks, and this is Chick's Picks. Let's talk about Mater, that unconventional racer from Radiator Springs. To absolutely no one's surprise, he won again today. I say we just pre-record tomorrow's show because we already have our winner.
He even calls a special guest on after each race to get their perspective, though what they can say is generally either vague or completely random.
What did you think, Miss Fritter?
Oh, that was scary. It just ain't safe out there when it gets like that. Woo-hoo! I loved it. Every race should be just like it.
Though heaven help you if you actually decide to play as Lightning McQueen. He'll take every opportunity to slander the guy that he can.
No, that's not possible. Natalie, tell them who the real winner is.
Chick Hicks here, and welcome back to Chick's Picks. Moments ago, by a total fluke, Lightning McQueen won a race, proving that even losers get lucky now and then.
As for how you play the game, there really is no story mode. Instead, progress in the game is earned in two ways. The first way is through competing through events. There are 5 types of challenges in the game. Race, which is a straight race to the finish with no gimmicks. Battle Race, which is just racing but with items added into the mix. Stunt Showcase, your basic stunt challenge. Gain more points than your opponents in a certain amount of time. Takedown, the mode where you gun down as many robo-cars as possible. And Best Lap Challenge, basically a time trial. Earn stars in these events and you'll unlock other tracks to participate on. Then there's the Hall of Fame, or as I like to call it, the checklist from Kirby Air Ride. On this screen, you have a series of 136 feats you can complete, such as driving backwards for 5 seconds, completing a race, driving on 2 wheels for a certain amount of time, and using weapons in a specific way on a specific day in a specific month while having your mouth full of rocks. Okay, that last one's not real, but still. Each one will fill the Hall of Fame gauge at the top. This is basically how you unlock everything else in the game, from customization options to boss fights to characters. Speaking of, your racing roster today consists of Ka-Chow for the ladies. Yee-haw! girl character that no one remembers, attorney at law. Hey, stereotypes! Silent but puny. Literally, he never says anything. America! NASCAR's 1 and 2, Ego McMustache. Statistics say I'm boring. Ka-chow 2, Electric Boogaloo. Literal trailer trash. We get it, you're an ambulance, shut up. This is someone's fetish, I know it. Cool Blue, Pretty in Pink, Asshole, Old School, Foxy Granny, The Grey Storm, Not Doc Hudson, and Big Guy with a Heart of Gold. Overall roster of 23 characters, respectable in any case, though it's disappointing not to see any of the more recognizable Radiator Springs characters such as Sarge, Fillmore. Wait, that was kind of it, wasn't it? Dang it, I had this whole thing about how we could have dropped the generic-looking characters in favor of the more recognizable ones, but dang it, there's just not too many that I can... Oh, I remember! What about Finn McMissile? Or any of the racing cars from Cars 2? The Italian guy? That guy? No? Okay. By the way, Doc Hudson isn't in this game because he's dead. I only say that because Lightning will not stop talking about it.
Just like you talk, Doc. Just like you talk, Doc. Just like you talk, Doc.
We get it! He's dead! If there's one thing about the game's presentation I do love, it's the mid-race banter. Characters will actually talk to one another and respond to what's going on. Unlike most racers who simply say a line when going fast or getting hit, the responses here are more varied and even reference what others are doing.
Hey, not bad.
My calculations on that were perfect.
A character can comment on when you do a trick, attack them, and even when you use some fancy driving. Some characters even reference each other by name.
Couldn't have gone better. Hey, Mater, it's me, your best friend.
There is one final area of the game called the Thomasville Playground, but it's not really worthy of note because it's not really an open world so much as it's just a stunt arena. The only one in the game, and it's kind of boring to explore. There are some things to do, but given its tiny size, you'll never want to go back. The final mode is Sponsor Race, but I couldn't play it since it's multiplayer only, and good luck finding someone who wants to play Cars 3 Driven to Win with you. The graphics aren't the best I've seen on the system, but they're certainly not the worst. The locales are the basic ones you would see in a game about American racing, from farming backroads to mainstream speedways. There really isn't any shaking the boat here when it comes to locales. They do pull in some of the international tracks from Cars 2, but that's about it. And visually, they look okay. Everything looks bright and colorful, animations are smooth. It definitely looks like a Pixar movie, or a game adaptation of such anyway. It's certainly not as beautiful as something like Burnout Paradise Remastered, but in this case it really doesn't have to be. I'd say average PS4 graphics to be sure. Music is about the same. It's good for in-game, but if anything you won't be humming it on your way to work like Polar Pass. It's basic American redneck stuff, a bunch of classic rock and country. Take a listen. The only time they ever really spice it up is with the international tracks. And they sound exactly how you'd expect. Graphically and musically, this is a very bare-bones title. This is where things get interesting. The game uses basic modern driving controls. Right trigger to accelerate, left trigger to brake and reverse, and face buttons to perform special actions. If there's one thing that I don't like about the controls, it's that they can't be remapped. I can't use the classic X button to accelerate and square button to brake, and for me, that means I can get the controls confused sometimes, and that can really mess me up. However, this is where things can get interesting because the developers actually took advantage of the fact that these cars are alive. Pressing the X button will allow your character to jump. And this isn't your standard hop, I mean they jump. They get major air here.
On the ground, jump, 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 jump.
This can be helpful for jumping over hazards, rough terrain, or off jumps for extra height, or even over certain projectiles. Pressing circle will make your car drift around turns. It's pretty standard. The triangle button will allow you to fire any weapons that your car is currently equipped with, and the square button will use your boost. And that is what we call a segue. This game relies on its use of the boost system, but it's less CTR and more Sonic Unleashed for the Wii. At the beginning of each race, you can rev your engine to fill the boost gauge at the bottom of the screen, then instantly empty it once the race starts to get a boost. You then have to fill the gauge by performing stunts using the right stick. On the ground, tilting the right stick up will cause the car to drive on 2 wheels, while pressing down will cause your car to drive backwards. Doing these actions will slowly earn you boost, but you can earn bonus boost by performing specific actions on top of certain icons. Arrows mean do a drift, split arrows mean on 2 wheels, and diamonds mean drive backwards. Pressing left or right will allow you to sidestep. Sidestepping into other cars can earn you boost, but doing it to them while they're on 2 wheels or driving backwards will spin them out, causing them to lose speed. You can also use the right stick to do stunts in the air to earn boost. The more types of stunts you do, the more boost you earn. Once one segment of the boost meter is full and turns yellow, you can press the square button to earn a boost of speed for a limited time. Knowing when to use this is the key to winning races. However, if you want to be extra risky, you can fill up all 4 charges and double tap square to go in the zone. It's basically this game's form of the Aku Aku mask. You reach top speed, are completely invincible, and can run other cars out of your way. The game's battle race mode is where the game introduces items. There's rockets, triple rockets, homing rockets, bombs, mines, magnetic mines, oil slicks, weapon jammers, jet boosters, turbo siphons, and the first place target item. The goal is still the same, finish first, but now the weapons start to add a little chaos to the mix, though the boost system is still what's going to win you the race. In stunt mode, there are ramps everywhere, and your goal is to earn as many points as possible performing mid-air stunts before the time runs out. Pro tip, just don't repeat tricks in the same jump. You'll win every time. Up, down, left, rinse, repeat until win. You can also land backwards, but you don't really need that. Takedown mode is where you use the game's various weapons to take down waves of robot cars? How does that work? The world is full of living cars. They're essentially robots themselves. Are these just non-living robot cars? Do they not have AI? I mean, they don't have faces, so if these are robots, then what the hell are the cars with faces? How does the world of cars work? I probably shouldn't think about it too hard. Anyway, destroy bots, don't get hit. And Fast Lap, which is just time trial mode, except it only records lap times and you have a limited amount of laps to improve your time. Like I said earlier, the Thomasville Playground isn't anything too interesting. It's just a large sandbox used for unlocking Mac, and that's about it. As far as how everything comes together, it's pretty good. The cars feel good to drive, though they can be a little slow when not boosting. Track design is pretty good too, though some tracks like the Thomasville Mines and Thunder Hollow tracks can be confusing. There are shortcuts that require you to jump in order to reach them, but that's about it. The boost mechanic is interesting, but it falls short with no ability to keep up your speed indefinitely. The AI is surprisingly competent. Even on medium difficulty, they can keep up very well, and that's a good thing, especially since there's no online mode here to speak of. Another thing you can unlock for your cars is various customization options. Though changing paint isn't a thing, you can change the lights under your car and the boost flame color, but that's about it other than the horn noise. And seriously, who uses the horn in a racing game? As far as racing games go, this is a pretty solid one. The controls are solid, though there's no wiggle room. The cars feel okay to drive. It exudes the Cars universe, if that means anything to you. The extra modes add enough for reasonable replay value. Overall, Cars 3 Driven to Win is a decent racing game. The only problem is that, like the movie it's based off of, there's nothing here that really stands out. There's nothing that ruins the game, but there's nothing that puts it up there with the greats either. I paid exactly $40 for this game, and I definitely feel like I got my money's worth. Does it compete with something like CTR or Mario Kart? No, but there's definitely a fun game here. The character interaction and mechanics are above and beyond what Cars 3 actually needed to do, but other than that, it's just an above-average kart racer. If a friend has it or you find it on discount, give it a try. You might find something you like. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. It'll take you 2 seconds and it can only benefit you. Also, follow me on Twitter as I occasionally post memes and updates. Next time, I hope to be taking a look at an actual bad racing game.